Hello all, I'm Shifty, and today I want to talk about 2 fun ways to improve your building in Space Engineers. If you're new to the game, these are great ways to get your feet wet, and if you're a longtime player like myself, they're still going to be a lot of fun. The first of these is retrofitting ships, that is taking apart things that other people have already built, redesigning them, seeing how they work, and changing their purpose, reimagining them to fit some other role, perhaps. I really like using the economy ships, which are already in the game, for this, and I think these are probably the most commonly retrofit ships out there because everybody has access to them. And when you're playing in survival, you'll very often be able to get a hold of 1 or 2 of these and then change it up. They are also, in my opinion, very good ships for doing this because they have a lot of room for improvement. But if they're not the type of ships you want to be doing, I've looked at the workshops, whether you're on Xbox, PlayStation, or PC, there are thousands and thousands of ships out there that you can look through and you can grab them. If you're a new player, maybe you want to grab ships that look more complete. And if you're an older player, a lot of times it's very fun to grab the ships that look unpolished and then to go ahead and polish them up. Now let's take a look at a group of retrofits which I've been working on. This is a pirate faction that is made up of the economy ships. I thought that, you know what, there's economy stations that are pirate stations. How cool would it be that if when you went to those stations, you were able to buy pirate versions of all the other economy ships? And with that in mind, I started swapping up the ships, and each one of them kind of taught me something different, or didn't really teach me something, but it gave me practice in doing something. The first one is the H01 Prospector. I changed this one up because it was the smallest and it was the easiest to purchase at the time. I actually did this retrofit in survival because I purchased one. I'm like, you know what? Let's make this a functional combat ship. So I'm going to take a quick look around the inside of this vehicle. I changed up quite a bit of the outside, but really this one was a good practice on making a really compact interior. You can see all the floor in here is solid. And I thought to myself, you know what? I bet I could get a whole nother floor in the bottom of this ship. And that will be good practice with working in tight spaces and trying to make multiple floors without having a just solid brick layer in between. So we come over to my version of it. I added a full airlock. I thought that was nice. Decided to use, I had to use one of these types of blocks, this shape, the C shape, to make it airtight, and I really wanted a light. So, hey, I used a nice light block there. On the inside, it looks like it's set up pretty much the same, but it is completely different. I just tried to keep the feel very similar and as many of the blocks in the same places as I could. It was pretty much a complete rebuild, but it was a fun project and it was very different. All right, coming downstairs, you can see this is the 3rd floor that I added. I still have the cockpit in the same place, but now we have an entire another floor below the previous one. And we have these nice little plate blocks underneath it that make it airtight and everything. Got a couple beds. You see this one was designed before the newest beds were in the game. I think most of these ones were actually. But I was pretty happy with this. The outside is pretty true to the original version, even though I did do kind of a complete remake on it. The next ship I worked on is the B980 hauler. It's this green guy right here, also a very common ship. This is pretty much an atmospheric ship when you get it from the stations. It has a few hydrogen thrusters, but once you bring this down to a planet, it doesn't really leave the planet. It's very difficult to get back into space with this one, at least in my experience, without adding a few hydrogen thrusters. So I thought, you know what, these pirates, they're better equipped. They're going to make a hydrogen version of this ship, which pretty much gets rid of these 2 big atmospheric thrusters and then adds in hydrogen thruster pods. That also gives me some experience with doing some hydrogen piping, and we can get a few more turrets on here and there because of that. Also added parachutes to all my ships because I thought, you know what, that is a serious improvement that all of these could use. Some of them have parachutes, but I added parachutes and got some practice balancing them so that when the parachutes deploy, the ship doesn't fall on its face. The insides of these ships are also completely different once again. I expanded the front to make it a little more luxurious because the vanilla ships, if there's one thing they could really stand to have improvement on, it is their interior space. The interior of the economy ships is very dated. And you can tell that basically by the fake beds that are everywhere. This is how people used to make beds in Space Engineers before beds actually existed. They used the old style passage and they turned it sideways. So we've got that. We've got the old interior blocks. Now these could be all sorts of new things. And I saw this as an opportunity to go ahead and give it a major refurbish of the interior. We've also got a seat here for the cockpit, and I changed that up. So in my version, you also enter right at the back in a very similar location. Slid it a little bit, changed the walkways. I did keep this old thing here. This could be a new staircase, and I probably should change it, but you know what? I kept some things the same because you don't always have to change everything. In the back here, we now have a proper bedroom with a shower and a toilet. On that side, I'm into the front part of the ship, a little bit of that, and we have some of the new blocks. We got a kitchen on this side, and we got a bit of a lounge on that side, so pretty luxurious for a pirate ship. I moved the oddly placed gravity generator underneath here. It was just slapped on the other ship like an afterthought. If you look back there, you can't really see it, but that's how I decided to do that. Nice airlock once again, functional airlocks, good addition to all ships, and a little thing there. Let's take a look at this this thing right here. It's just kind of slapped on the top. I always feel like this is very strange when they do a gravity generator just slapped on somewhere. I think there's another ship out here that's very similar to that. Is it the first one I did? No, it's this one. This one seems to have a gravity generator just slapped on top. It's things like that that you start recognizing that are things that could use serious improvement. And retrofitting ships is a great way to just quickly recognize these types of things. Like, it looks like this person they built this whole ship and they're like, oh shoot, I need gravity. Let's just slap it on top. Maybe this is a theme for all of these ships, but I did notice it specifically for these two. And having gravity in a central location so that it uses less power to give gravity to everywhere that needs it is the ideal place to have it. This one's not particularly bad. It's on the outside, and I don't care for that. It's a personal preference, but always trying to center them is good practice. Now that I had experience building up hydrogen thrusters where atmospheric thrusters used to be, I figured I'd apply that to this ship as well. I have removed some of the big atmospheric thrusters in the front, and I have swapped them for hydrogen thrusters. It's not a very complex swap, but you do have to add piping, and that then gives you piping for other things. So there's an overall benefit, and that lets these ships much more easily transition from being on a planet up into space, which the original versions kind of had a hard time doing. So improvements that I like to add to different things, and stuff that you kind of, from putzing around and retrofitting, you get experience doing, you know? It's a big difference in this game between, and actually just in life in general, between knowing something is possible and having experience actually doing that thing. Like, you can examine ships on the workshop and say, hey, you know what? I know ships can look nice. There's a big difference between knowing that ships can look nice and having experience making them look nice. So it's always good to get experience. That's an indispensable thing in life in general. So we're going to go look through my ship first here. This is the upgraded version. It might look very similar to a lot of you, but I'll do some side-by-side shots here. You'll be able to tell that it is quite significantly different. I decided to make this one a little bit more of a functional base, and I removed those little side rooms on the old version, and I put in full refineries where they used to be. So those rooms are here. In a different version of this, I used this to build something I'm going to talk about later in this video, and I did actually remake these rooms and make them look nice in that. So I wanted to make sure to utilize that space in a variety of ways during this project. The old ship, we'll just take a quick walkthrough of that. They have their doors working a little bit differently than mine. See, this interior is a little different, and they've got a weird gravity thing just slapped on once again in what seems to me to be a afterthought location, because this is way towards the front of the ship. It's just slapped on the ceiling, and now it has to project way out the front of the ship in order to reach the back of the ship, which is very inefficient. The last one I worked on is the Blue Ambassador Explorer. I guess I didn't say the name of this one. This one was the B60 Bulk Freighter, I believe. This is the Blue Ambassador Explorer, and I converted it once again to a pirate ship. I'll show a couple screenshots here of major changes. The exterior got a bit of an upgrade, and the interior got major upgrades. Taking a quick walk through the middle. I really don't like ladders, so I got rid of them in as many places as I could. Again, a personal preference, but something that you'll learn if you walk around in ships a whole lot. You'll learn that you probably don't like ladders either. Maybe you like the way they look, but I don't think anyone who plays this game actually likes climbing a ladder. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you're the one guy out there or the one girl out there that likes climbing ladders in this game, I'd like to meet you, because I'd like to give you all of my ladders. Let's go up to the front here. I changed the entranceway here significantly because I really wanted this to be dockable on the NPC stations, the economy stations, so this is the setup for that. Instead of having a landing gear up there, I did that. We changed this to a full airlock right here. And as you can see, it is also a keen airlock, which, if you're not familiar, is basically that window is fully airtight, and it keeps the air from over here mixing with the air on this side. So I can leave the doors open. There's no chance that the airlock will let air out, even if I'm screwing around and I have both doors open like that. It's just a nice little added feature. It doesn't break immersion. If you do build a room like this that seems like an airlock, it just is a failsafe for people that just run through airlocks and don't care. Changed the interior quite a bit, opened it up, added a few more rooms. Going to the back here, these side rooms that had fake beds and whatnot in it, they now have real beds in them. Got some lockers. Same on the other side. I added a bathroom behind the fish tank here. See that? And I added a room for the captain. He's got his own private shower and sink and a bed. It's kind of nice. Coming up to the front here, we've got a completely redone room. This, I don't even know what was in the other room. Pretty much nothing was in the previous room. But this one is a nice lounge kitchen area. Way too couche for a pirate ship, but these are some high-class pirates. Let's put it that way. And the front is not too much different. By the looks of it, it does have quite a bit different. Like behind these walls is the interior of the other side, but I wanted to give it some armor, so I added the armor panels on that side. That is going to be it for looking at these builds. Hopefully you can get out there and you can try some retrofitting of your own. I guarantee that if you take some stuff apart, you look at what other people have done, you are going to come out the other side a better builder yourself. The next project I want to talk about is what I like to call building a Golem ship, but it's probably better known as kitbashing. Basically what you do is you take a bunch of ships that are built, you tear them apart into their pieces, and then you stick those pieces back together as a new ship. Kitbashing is basically just level 2 retrofitting. If you had fun retrofitting, you'll probably have tons of fun kitbashing as well. And you're going to learn twice as much doing it, because you're not starting with a single vehicle that already works. You're starting with pieces of vehicles that may or may not work together. And eventually, if you do a good job, you're going to come out with a ship that is fully functional, looks good, and feels like it belongs together. All right, that's my sales pitch. I'm done, I promise. Go out there, get some kitbashing in, do some retrofitting. I guarantee you'll get better at the game. Last thing I want to do is take a little tour of my Golem Mothership. That's what I called this bad boy, and it is for my New Age Pirate, hence nap on the side, my New Age Pirate faction. This was something that I actually built as a result of a build competition on our Discord server. Discord is open to everyone. Build events are open to everyone. I make videos for the build events on my second channel. Link for that will be on the end card and in the description, as always. If you want to check out some of the other builds that were done for that competition, I think we got 5 other builds on it, and some of them were pretty cool. This is not the largest build out of the competition. So yeah, go check those out if you want to. But otherwise, we're just going to take a quick tour of this. The front of it is actually very similar to one of the ones we already looked at, because I actually just copy and pasted the front from this. This was done first in order to complete that one. And then everything back from that is a little bit different. So the front's going to look kind of similar. I did do this room differently because this has more crew. So this is the crew meeting room. The ceiling is still the same, but on the other ship it was a little different. The front area is also very similar. You'll remember this from the ship that we just looked at. Slight changes here and there. This one, going backwards, has an option of going up and down. Basically all the yellow doors in this ship indicate airlocks. So this will go into the first hangar. So that's what that airlock is for. And going up will just keep you in the ship. Whenever I have a hangar, I always like leaving the option to not go through the hangar to get to other parts of the ship. But you can see this is the hangar from the red ship, significantly modified. I'm going to raise the ceiling up a little bit. I had to get some piping from the front of the ship to the back, and going through the hangar was the best way to do that. So we got some stray pipes in here. This actually does allow you to connect still and allows cargo to pass through. This just keeps you from falling in yourself. So there's that. I'm going to continue going back through the airlock on the other side. Now I'm coming into the big green ship, the B60. So this is the B60 body, and this is just 2 refineries on either side. And then you'll recognize probably this room. Again, highly modified, but it is the center of the B60 bulk freighter. Going up from that, it kind of continues. These are those side rooms I was talking about that I redid on this ship and I didn't do on the other one. So I turned one into a bathroom. So I just have a bunch of bathroom stalls in here. Pretty straightforward. And the other one is the captain's room, which I guess is me. Because why not, right? Might as well embrace it. This is the one I had a nice little picture of. It was kind of from this angle. But got a couple bunks in the captain's room. I guess in case I have guests. I don't know. I had 2 beds. Why not just slap them in? This is another airlock. You can tell because it is yellow and I have signs. I like having signs. This goes down to a bunch of maintenance area and the cargo storage for the ship. We'll get to that. We're going to do the entire interior first though. Continuing back, we've got interior turret defense, store and contracts blocks, and then an engine room back here. Yeah, it's a little bit cramped, but it is just an engine room. We've got redundant cargo access, survival kit, the works. If we go back forwards, that's where we came from down there. We go up into a somewhat custom area of the ship. This is the ceiling of the other ships, so the roof of the other ships, and it is below stuff that I got from other ships as well. Right above here is parts of the red ship. That's what that little walkway is. It's the entranceway to the red ship from the back. I used a couple of those, and that kind of makes the top frame, and then I used the landing pad from the bulk freighter. I used that twice. So right above here is one landing pad, right above the other side is another landing pad, and that's how I got my whole roof. So while this is very custom, the walls are still primarily built out of other ship pieces. So we've got kind of a lounge area, and then the main crew areas are off to the sides. These are the front of one of the ships. I don't remember what it's called, but it is the blue one that I was looking at saying, hey, this gravity generator's in a weird spot. I redid the interior. These were fake beds up here, and I just put real beds in. So it's got a crew of 12 plus the captain, and each of these tables has 6 seats. We got 6 beds. It all kind of makes sense. On the other side, it is pretty much the same, not exactly mirrored, but very similar. So I won't go in there. This is another airlock that goes outside. And the kitchen, I didn't really look at that very well. We got a kitchen here. We've got a work accident thing, and then we've got a bit of a locker room back there, which is permanently locked so that the hooligans don't get in. We'll go out onto the landing pads on top now. Got the array from the green ship over there. You can see that. Painted red. And then this is the landing pad off the back of the green ship. And going into the red ship. This would be normally the stairs going down into the red ship, but as you can see, it goes over the top of my interior and brings you out to the front to another landing pad. And this just gives you nice railing to access up to this turret. I thought that was kind of a neat addition. Not 100% necessary, but pretty cool. I like this a lot. It's so sneaky. like see down into the area, but you're not really in the ship yet. Kind of walk around. Pretty cool. We'll look around the outside a little bit more. I do have oxygen production there. This ship kind of does a little bit of everything. It is my mothership for my fleet that I'm building, and it is built out of all the same ships. They're just chunked together. The back of 3 different ships here. This was a ship, that was a ship, that was a ship. All painted red. And then we've got a couple of the cargo ships. I took them apart and put them back together to make this a little bit longer, but we've got quite a few docking points and lots of cargo storage down here. This is where that vertical staircase or ladder goes to. Goes down right on the right here. And it comes out all the way the heck down here. And this is a secondary engine room. This one's exposed to space, but it's not bad. And you can walk all the way up here. You can come out here, and this is how I would probably dock fighters on here or something, and then you could access the fighters right here. I'd put the connector like above the cockpit of the fighter. It'd be kind of a weird design, but then you could jump in and jump out right here, and I think that would be kind of cool. Have some fighters to go with this ship. If you walk all the way up front here, you will find this little gun, and then there are 2 railguns here, snuck in the bottom. And then this is the back of a ship, of course. Flipped around because I wanted more hydrogen thrust to go backwards. I think I will leave it at that for the walkthrough. This ship here is going to be up on the workshop. The other ships are not going to be on the workshop yet because this is something I probably should have mentioned sooner, but before you post any rebuilds of other people's ships, you really should get permission from the person, from the original poster, to post your upgraded versions of their ship. And I have not figured out who the heck made these. Now, it's probably fair game because they are part of the vanilla game, but I would still like to give credit to the original creator who posted these. I believe they're on the workshop. If you know where they are or who to get in contact with, drop a comment so I can do that. And then I will post all of these ships as well, and they can go with the fleet. But for now, the Golem Mothership will be posted. I think it's enough of a transformation that no one that built these other ships is really going to complain about it. If they do, you know, we'll deal with it at that point. But it is an extreme transformation, and I think that's allowable. You know, these ones less so. They're pretty extreme, but obviously it's inspired and built out of very similar blocks from the originals. So always get permission from the person before you post copies of their ship, even if you have changed a lot, and always give credit at the top of your post, at the top of your blueprint or whatever you're putting online. Give credit to them and give a link to the original poster. It's just the respectful thing to do, and you should always do it. If you enjoyed this video, please consider taking the half a second to hit the like button. It really is appreciated, and it does help. If you want to see more content like this, you can always subscribe. It's an option. I know, blows my mind too, but you can subscribe, and if you hit the little bell, you'll get notified when future content comes out. All jokes aside, I do sincerely hope that you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.